Right, hello. Hopefully everybody gets the notification and all that. And if you look at the chat, there's something YouTube have added that people have said should have been on YouTube streams for years, and they've finally done it. A very simple anti-trolling measure. Basically, you have to have been a subscriber, and the channel person can set, the amount of time. So I've just set it for 1 day. You have to have been subscribed for at least 1 day to be able to leave a comment. So it means that most people who actually like the channel will have been subscribed 1 day. But it means if somebody's wanting to, just constantly make accounts and come on and spam the chat, they can't do it, because they'd have had to have made all those in advance and subscribed to those in advance, which is actually a pretty good feature, actually. So it's good YouTube have done that. Now, I don't know if the chat will work as normal, if I'll have to do pop-out chat again. So let me do pop-out chat. Right, I've got pop-out chat on now, so if anybody says anything, I should definitely see the message. So another hot day today. All right, Flazzy. So I've got the aircon on at the moment, and even then it's still 31.3 in here. There you go. So still too hot. But the humidity's low because the aircon actually takes the water out of the air. That's quite good. What do you mean you don't see the chat? You've commented in it. So hello, everybody. So yeah, the good thing is, for those of you that were missing it when I just started talking at the beginning of the stream, YouTube has finally put in the subscribers-only chat mode. So what they'd done before was you, first of all, only had like regular chat. Then they have put slow mode in, that helps a bit. Then they did the members-only chats, which are good for member streams. But now they've added a thing where somebody has to be subscribed, and you can set the minimum time they have to be subscribed before they can leave messages. So what that means is basically it stops people just making new accounts to spam the chat. I don't know, Chocolate Muffin, because I've only just noticed it on tonight's stream and I was putting slow mode on. Yeah, Flazzy, it's something that people have asked YouTube to do for ages, and they basically just said no, and now they've done it. So what it is it just means that as the person doing the stream, you can set how long somebody has to have been subbed for. So by default, it's off. You can put it on and you can have it like 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, all the stuff like that. Yeah, it might be worth trying it, Mike, because as I said, if people are going to raid your stream, they'd have had to have subscribed in advance, and they'd also have to know how long you've got the thing set to. So I've just done it for 1 day today. But you could, in theory, have done it for like 1 month plus subscribers or whatever. Well, yeah, Nick, that's the thing on here. And hello, Rich, and hello, everybody joining. But yeah, so if I've not said hello to everybody, apologies, but it's just because everybody's coming on while I'm discussing something. But yeah, because it's one of those things where YouTube constantly makes changes to like the interface when nobody asks them to do it, so a sense of like, oh, we moved this button from here to there when nobody asked for that, like you get used to the interface and then they change it again. What's the book? Because I saw there was the bunker book that got sent to me on Discord, but that one was out of stock when I looked, or like not being sold in the UK. Top Hat Man, it will depend completely on yield, airburst, or ground burst. So use something like Nuke Calculator, Nuke Map. Use Nuke Map, and then basically work out with a ground burst or air burst if it's in the radius or not. If it's in the immediate radius, you're fucked. If it's in the thermal burn radius, but otherwise you're okay. Other than getting burns, you'd be fine in a bunker like that, because obviously when you're in a bunker, you're not going to catch a light. All right, Steve? I have no idea what you're on about, Anthony, I'm afraid. But yeah, there's already a couple of messages I don't get on here. But yeah, like I say, it's a good feature that they finally added the thing that, you can say as, like I said, I don't know if you can do it on regular videos, because that wouldn't be a bad feature to enable on new videos. Like, you know, somebody has to have been subscribed for like maybe 1 week before they can comment. But I doubt they'll do it on regular videos. Because like I said, that means that you wouldn't get as many comments, but all the comments are probably people who want to actually ask decent questions, not just spam stuff. No, I don't have a Korean K1. Did I do a video on a Korean K1? And then send it back? I can't remember now. Let me check. Was that a K1 or was that another mask? Yeah, there we go. South Korean K1 gas mask. I did a video on it on April the 16th. So I don't own one, but somebody lent me one. I'm trying to remember who it was now that lent me them, because I have a few people that sometimes lend me masks and ask for them back. No, I don't have a Greek Cobra gas mask, sadly. I've read V for Vendetta as in the graphic novel, and I've seen the film a lot of times. The film's better than the graphic novel, in my opinion. Yeah, I was actually out in the woods today, Steve. And out in the woods, in all honesty, it wasn't too bad, because the specific reason I wanted to go out in the woods today is it's a lot shadier than being somewhere where it's open in... It might have been JJ Flazzy, I'm trying to remember. Because there's quite a few people that do the thing of, you know, like they'll just send me one-off masks to remember. Or was it Marcus that sent it me? I really can't remember now. Yeah, I mean, thunderstorms should make the weather a bit cooler, but what was nice today is where I was, it was a hot enough day that you could go out and go to the woods and, you know, like the only thing was like mosquitoes and midges biting you in the woods, and like gnats and all those sort of things. But like at least in the woods, the sun isn't like belting down on you, so you've got like warm air temperature, but not like, you know, sun directly going to your forehead. Oh, that sounds good, Rich. Yeah, what I can see, Ivan, is if there's an eBay seller with the same sort of thing, because I know that sometimes happens where there'll be eBay stores that ship internationally, but not Amazon ones. Like the not War Emergency Guide, but Protect and Survive back there. That's one the Imperial War Museum does reprints of, but it's cheaper to buy them on eBay, just brand new from various booksellers, than it is to try and get them on Amazon. TXE Gaming, the answer to that is obviously still yes. But you know, as I've said over and over again, one still has to come up for an affordable price. Hype sent me that Nixie Tube clock for free. If you're on about that one, you can get them on AliExpress though. Off target surviving prepping at one point, because they used to be a very cheap bit of surplus to buy. Does that make sense? Because at the moment now, a lot of people can't understand that with Corona and that, like how expensive masks are. But like obviously, at some points, the masks were dirt cheap because most people thought you'd never need them. Right. Sadly, most of the stuff to do with pricing of them is completely dependent on where in the UK they sell and the amount of land you get with them. If you get one that doesn't have very good access, as in, you know, like it's surrounded by other people's fields where you might get access rights to walk to and from it, but, you know, you wouldn't get access rights probably to drive your car over it. In those regards, you might get one for 10 to 15 grand, depending on condition. If you get one in a more expensive part of the UK for land, with more land with it, they go up to like 50 grand. Yeah, I did, Stug. Was that in Grand Theft Auto 5 or something? I quite like I like the East German greatcoat. I've got a Czech trench coat, Czechoslovakian trench coat, that's alright. I don't actually have any British greatcoats. Yeah, I mean, Calvert and Hatch is a lot bigger than an ROC post, though. Bear that in mind. Calvert and Hatch is for, like, the top-tier people they wanted to keep alive. Although, I think in Calvert and Hatch there is a map somewhere of loads of ROC posts, you know, the ones that would report into Calvert and Hatch. Yeah, Stug, I wasn't sure if when you said it to me you were going to, like, originally say it was, like, live action or not. But yeah, it's worth watching. So, For the person constantly asking about night vision goggles, if you'd looked at my channel, you'd know I've done loads of videos on night vision. So the answer to that is an obvious yes, and I think you know that. All right, thanks for letting me know, Mike. Right, tonight then, I will probably do a bit of control and a bit of something else. Do you mean Top Hat Man, like one of the rotor bunkers they built in Scotland? If so, that's like Calvert and Hatch just in Scotland, because bear in mind there's a few bunkers like Calvert and Hatch, as in the big rotor ones they built in different areas of the UK. Right, the person definitely wants a block there, don't they? So there we go. Oh, I blocked them at the same time you timed them out, but thanks, Steve. But yeah, it's, again, if I tell you I've done videos on something and you can't be bothered to look them up, don't keep asking the question. I reckon that person might actually have a picture of me as their profile picture, but I can't even tell because it's like an image for ants, because you can't go to channels anymore, can you, on the thing? That's one of the annoying things they changed in moderation stuff. Well, Fluzzy, again, it's only set to 1 day at the moment, so if they subscribed a while ago and this is their first time coming on the stream, because I imagine some of them do it in advance, you know, like 1 week they make like 20 accounts to come on with. Tell you what I can do. I could actually, because I'm sad enough to do this at the moment, let me search their YouTube channel name and see if I can find their picture and work out if it's me or not, or if I'm just being paranoid. But like I said, it's stupid now with YouTube. You just can't go to channel to, you know, but yeah, no, you can't even search channels properly on YouTube anymore, can you? It's stupid. Like I said, I don't know why they took that feature away where you could like go to channel from the stream, because then you could see how recently it was made. Because obviously, if a channel was made like 1 day ago, you know it's not a legit account. But oh, it's a fat dude in tactical gear, is it, Nick? Then probably not me then if it's fatter. But I literally can't see from that, because yeah, it's annoying because like from all I can see, oh, actually, I can just about see it now, looking tiny. Because yeah, it's some fat guy running, isn't it, in tactical gear like that? Yeah. Whereas where I was looking at it, I thought it was a wooden door behind him, and it was like me standing there. Like I was saying, because you get a lot of people that just use like screenshots from my videos when they make the stupid accounts to come on here. Oh, say South Wales Outdoors, you get a lot of weird stuff where laws are changed at different points so they don't correlate. But bear in mind, airbows are completely unregulated power-wise here, but they just cost too much. So I would never bother buying one. That's some low effort there, 904D. We'll have to try on the next one, Flazzy. I reckon setting it to a week, maybe. Ah, that's good, Nick. What's that called? Because I'll definitely use that. Because that would actually be good for me just as a moderation thing to work out what people's pictures are. Because like sometimes you see like little pictures of Hitler as well, and you think I don't really want them on my channel. So he's got like a picture of Hitler as their actual, you know, thing. But when it's like an image for ants, you can't even work out, you know. So yeah, although bow hunting is illegal, air bows are not regulated in terms of power. So again, you could have like 100 foot-pound air gun that shoots arrows as opposed to pellets, and then it's okay. So yeah, very odd. But yeah, I'll have to have a look into that, Nick, because that does sound quite good for moderation, either on my streams or other people's streams. Like, you know, if I'm on one of Mike's, because yeah, the amount of people you see and you can't work out from their picture if it's something dodgy or not, and then you're like, oh, do I give them the benefit of the doubt or not? Yeah, you get some weird people on YouTube, don't you, Chocolate Muffin? I think generally it's people who are so sad they don't make any content of their own. All they do is, oh, I don't like other people because they make content. I mean, some of them do make content and it's shit, but you know, I think we've all mentioned all this before, haven't we? It's, again, if you don't like somebody's videos, why do you watch their channel? You know, I don't bother subscribing to channels I don't find interesting. And, you know, at the same time, I'd kind of think if you're subscribed to me, you'd probably find my videos interesting. You wouldn't subscribe just to be like, oh, I think you're stupid. Right, I'm going to open my drink now, and it's just an energy drink. It's not even alcohol. I'm not even bothering with alcohol now while it's hot weather, just because it dehydrates you more than it already is dehydrating me. Even though I'm drinking like 3 litres of water a day at the moment, I'm still often waking up in the morning thinking I've got a bit of a headache, like I've had a drink, but I haven't. Right, is the chat broken? Because I can't see anything after Nick's message there. I think my chat's broken. Right, let me get the chat open and closed again. All right, so yeah, right, let me scroll up a bit. Yeah, so yeah, you said it was called Imagus. Oh, you finally got around to watching it, Justin. It's a shame poor Ritter died in it. Like the actor that played Dyatlov, he died like a month or so ago from a brain tumor. Right, Nuclear Preacher? You're not, if you've got a mask randoms, you shouldn't really display it by hanging it up like that. I just do those because they're not worth anything. It's Morrison's version Flazzy, so very, very cheap. But it tastes all right. It's got a strong cherry smell, taste. It tastes like, you know, before they used to take the sugar out of, although this doesn't actually have sugar in, so I lied there. But, you know, not Fanta, you know, like Cherry Aid stuff. It tastes like Cherry Aid, just with a load of caffeine in it, basically. It's quite good for when I'm at work. Like every few hours you have a can, and, you know, then 2 or 3 cans, your shift's over. Yeah, I know crossbows aren't power regulated South Wales. I'm just saying that, you know, with crossbows, you're always going to have a mechanical factor on really how powerful they can get. Whereas obviously air bows are a lot more efficient in terms of how they work, because they work using the exact same logic as an air gun. It's just it shoots an arrow rather than a pellet. The idea is that the arrow somehow lodges on kind of the pipe that shoots it. So obviously the pressurized air is what, you know, essentially launches the arrow, a bit like a harpoon gun. I don't even know that there are any crossbow clubs near me at all, though, because like any of the archery clubs near me that have survived Corona, which won't be many, are the ones of like people like, right, you have to stand exactly like this and use a bow in this specified power range. I've been to a couple of all right like bow shooting things, but funnily enough, the best ones I went to were actually just ones done in like a sports club. You know, where it was more just people doing it because they wanted to do it as an activity, not like very strange elitists who are like, oh, you can only use a bow in certain powers and even though they're not competition shooting against each other. Like from a safety perspective, I can understand some of it, but not the fact that they're like, oh, I don't like you if you've got a bigger bow than me. You must be compensating for something. Paintball wear in Telebright. You can't play paintball suddenly in this sort of archery range I was on about. That's just literally like a sports hall that they do it in every now and then. What the hell is the Among Us challenge? I've got no interest in playing Among Us. Yeah, I think my most powerful crossbow, South Wales Outdoors, I think is 350 FPS, and that's £175 compound, as in pounds of draw weight. Yeah, the weird thing is though, Nick, I don't find it dehydrates me anywhere near as bad as alcohol. Is that Solzhenitsyn, how it's pronounced? Like, the Gulag Archipelago. Sadly, I've not really read much of his stuff. I've read another similar... I tell a lie. I have read a Solzhenitsyn book. I read the one, is it A Day in the Life in a Gulag or something? It's like the one of the prisoners waking up in like the freezing cold, and then they like have to be doing like some bricklaying or something, and then he's talking about which of the prisoners he thinks will survive and which will die. I've read that one, but not Gulag Archipelago, which is a lot bigger. If there's an audiobook of Gulag Archipelago, I definitely listen to it, because I'm much better at listening to audiobooks while I do other stuff, and actually, still taking in the information while I'm reading. Like, I can't read while doing something else. But let me search Solzhenitsyn, and then we'll see so I'm just looking on his Wikipedia because it should have his books on there. Is it One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich? That one? So let me read the synopsis. I think this might be it, like you were saying. Is a short novel by the Russian writer and Nobel laureate Alexander Solzhenitsyn, first published in November 1962 in the Soviet literacy magazine Novy Mir New World. The story is set in a Soviet labor camp in the early 1950s and describes a single day in the life of an ordinary prisoner, Ivan Denisovich Sokov. Is that? Yeah, I think that's the one I've read. Let me just read the plot bit. Yeah, that's the one I read. Like I said, I can't remember all of it now, but that was the one I read of his. What's that, South Wales? You're on about air rifle power. But yes, it has to be under 12 foot-pounds of energy if it's an air rifle, under 6 foot-pounds for an air pistol, or it's a Section 1. And I'm assuming if it's an air pistol that's really powerful, you can't own it because of our laws. Which model does he have, TXE Gaming? Because most of the radius scans only go to 1 hour an hour. That's all mine goes up to. But you can't really measure X-rays accurately with a Geiger counter, though. Bear that in mind. A Geiger counter will tell you that they're there. They can't measure the energy and the counts of them accurately. I've seen that one, though, TXE Gaming. But that's the one where they're using it in a fucking flat, isn't it? Like an apartment. Because, yeah, here's the thing. If you've got an X-ray tube, you do not shoot it if it's in a room where in the next room along you might have neighbours or whatever, or other family members. That's the reason that whenever I do X-ray videos, they're always filmed in the same place, and I have to make sure other people aren't going to be around to do it, because that way I'm the only person getting a dose, if I get a dose, I assume you've not seen TXE Gaming, the one where my CDV 720 goes to 500 an hour plus. But yeah, you need to use an ionization chamber to measure X-rays, not really a Geiger counter, because the Geiger counter kind of gets confused by the sheer amount of counts. Cheers, South Wales Outdoors. There's generally a members stream every day or every other day on here. And the members streams are the ones that a lot of people like more, because the members streams are the ones where you never get really trolls on them. I think we've had one troll on the entire time I've done member streams, and that person had to pay to come on and be a dick, you know. So most of the time, member streams are people just chatting about like one subject for 20 minutes, whether it be something to do with surplus or whatever. Memes and strategy, as I've said, I don't really have any more ghost stories, because I've basically said all the things that happened to me, and, you know, I don't have a regular occurrence of meeting ghosts. Because I think unless you worked somewhere that's pretty creepy and haunted, you wouldn't really regularly have ghost adventures, would you? I don't mean the ones with Zach Bagans or whatever it's called, but I mean just in general, you know, unless you work somewhere that's actually haunted, you're not going to keep running into ghosts. Probably not without looking him up. Crazy Egg, what did he do? Depends how old they are, Drunk Russian, and which ones they are. Just surplus filter in general doesn't mean anything. Yeah, in Telebrite Films, you need to submit it to Mike's thing, because Mike's doing another, like, compilation video all about UFOs, you know, like aerial phenomenon type things. So yeah, you'd have to submit it to him, not me, really, and then it'll be in a proper video. But I've got one for that, which I need to do at some point, although it's anticlimactic. I've told a load of people it before. It's where there was a light flying through the sky at low altitude with, like, no sound coming from it. And then, like, loads of people were looking at it thinking, like, what the hell is that? And it turned out it was one of those like, what they call them, Chinese lanterns, where it works like a mini hot air balloon, where, you know, like, the combustion causes it to float. But obviously they're not going to make any noise because it's a flame essentially keeping it aloft. The Soviet Union was responsible for Chernobyl, you know, because it happened in Soviet Ukraine. It wasn't the Americans, was it, that made RBMK reactors and then didn't train the staff how to use them and then covered up the flaws in the RBMK reactors? No, I'm pretty sure it's the Soviet Union. You know. It's not really a contentious thing, is it? But yes, the Soviet Union caused Chernobyl. You can still use it safely, Drunk Russian. What it will work against and not work against anymore, I don't know. Well, you don't need containment buildings, do you? Because if your reactor's perfectly safe and nothing can go wrong, don't waste money on a containment building. Yeah, that logic never goes wrong. Yeah, Nick, like I said, but the first time I saw one, because it was dark enough you couldn't see the thing itself, you could just see the light coming from it. And obviously, it was floating along slowly, and whenever there was little bits of wind or air currents, you know, it would just move a bit erratically like that. That did definitely look like a UFO. Oh, that's cool. Where did you find that, Cheeky Antics? Was that like on eBay or somewhere? Not that I'd recommend people buy radium paint, which could be flaking around unless they really know what they're doing with it. I'm glad you find the videos useful, Rora. Yeah, I know some radium paint is absolutely crazy in terms of counts. 230 counts per minute isn't very high at all, actually. Is that beta and gamma, or are you measuring the alpha as well? Or are you just measuring, like, gamma CPM? Because if that's gamma CPM, then that's actually quite a bit, isn't it? I don't know anything about Call of Duty Warzone, so there you go, that's my answer. I don't. If you mean like a nuclear Chernobyl, I don't know about that. I know all the stuff that I can't really talk about on YouTube because of their very strange policies on it. But the stuff being reported in the news about gain of function research and the Wuhan laboratory, that stuff, yeah. I mean, that's still cool if you saw a B2, though, isn't it? It seems very low, though, cheeky antics for radium paint. Or is it like one where there's not any paint left, just a bit of powder, and it's like the container it was in, so it's contamination? Yep, the Radium Girls are a well-known example of, radioactive safety. And American Radium was a scummy company. Because if you don't know, American Radium were basically the ones that said, oh, lick the, paintbrushes to get a finer point with radium on them. And then when the women started falling apart and getting really ill, oh, it's because you have syphilis, you whore, you're fired. That was what American Radium did. Wasn't it one of the first really big, big sort of court action cases against the company, wasn't it? Like the Radium Girls thing. I mean, it's interesting if you're in, it's horrible what happened to them. It's interesting, obviously, in terms of radiation poisoning, like what happened to them. That's good, Flazzy. Which models are they? I ordered some more stuff from Prepper Shop today, because tomorrow I've got a video coming out on the ration bars I bought from Prepper Shop, and then I did some searching after I did the video, and they're still cheaper, those MREs that I bought, than actually buying the equivalent from Sainsbury's, which is normally never happens. So I bought a load more of the stuff they still had in stock. So I've got some more MRE videos to do, which is something I never thought I'd say. But it was just simply because they're cheaper than buying other food. It's just because I know the expiry dates for the best before. Yeah, Peach, it's the exact same one I have. There you go. It's that one, isn't it? With the Langlitz on it. The German halberd style, rather than the Swiss. Rather than the Swiss halberd, it's a German halberd with a triangular blade, as opposed to sort of the crescent blade, or whatever you call it. Yeah, that will be the annoying bit, Peach, because I bought a pole specifically for them, and I still had to shave a lot of it off to get it on. I didn't have the proper tools to do it. Right, what comments have I missed? Oh, what's this Odyssey thing? Is this the thing Slingshot's going over to? Yeah. Peach, I don't know what your best option would be for that, because mine's like a proper one, and as said, I still ended up having to do a load of work, probably like about 5 hours, because I didn't have the proper tools, like shaving wood with knives and like a grinder and all that. I don't actually know off the top of my head, Roro. Can you find a filter that specifically specifies ozone protection? I mean, you can't smell ozone, at least, when you've got a regular filter on. But that doesn't mean it actually protects you, really, does it? I didn't even know about that, Oliver. That's interesting. Let me look this up. Just out of interest, I doubt I'm going to get a reading, but I don't actually have the battery in that one, do I? The radio scan's in the other room. Never mind. I mean, I'm sure what I'd have noticed on one of my meters if something had turned up here at this point. Work's been all right, Welsh lad Dante. It's been a bit quieter than we're expecting, and again, that might be a problem if not enough people start turning up, especially with all the lockdown delay stuff again. That might mean loads of staff get laid off because, a lot of companies are in that situation where they needed lots of customers to come back when they opened up, and that doesn't seem to be happening. They're not doing awfully, but it's, that kind of thing of it's not as busy as it could be. But I've had a good day. I've been dog walking today out in the sun, but took him to some wood, so it was a nice, day for him. Well, I think Top Hat Man, if it was as long as it was relatively safe, and I say relative here, then yes, just because it's like a once in a lifetime thing, isn't it? What would I put in a time capsule to send into space? So like aliens could find it, I guess. Loads of different drugs, so aliens can try our drugs, and then they might send us some alien drugs. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, TXT Gaming, even with a scintillation counter, you're probably not going to get much, because you'd basically need the fallout to be landing directly near you, wouldn't you, to pick up a reading from it? If something nuclear is going on somewhere else in the world, you're not going to get a reading wherever else. What happened in Telebrite films? They were meant to be unlocking everything around now, and because they didn't close the borders when all the scientific advice told them to do it, the India variants come in, and now that's spreading. But everybody who needs a vaccine has been vaccinated or double vaccinated, so why can't we go back, to normal? I don't have many good ones, Cheeky Antics, as in a pure scintillation counter, because I've got ones that double up as a Geiger or scintillation counter, depending on which probes are installed on them, and then, you have to set the correct voltage and everything for the counter you're using. But I'm trying to think if I know of, like, any direct scintillation counters, because I've got an old Soviet scintillation counter, but the photo multiplier in it's so old, it doesn't really work even as well as a Geiger counter. I've had to sort out loads of internet stuff recently, Dan, which has been a ball ache. As in, we've had loads and loads of line problems, and we had to get a BT engineer out. All right, cool. I'll have to check that out at some point, Mike, because, of course, YouTube didn't send me a notification for it, because why would they? Even though I'm subscribed to Rich and I've clicked the bell, why would I get a notification for his videos? I don't know. But, they do like spamming my front page with Americans react to this, Americans react to that. Let me tell you what's on my front page of YouTube at the moment, and I'll see which. I'll read out the stuff that doesn't interest me in the slightest. Who sent you burp? That's obviously of no interest. Pinocchio-related videos. Some sort of strange meme video that's not even in English. Things about the British benefit system. Yeah, half the videos coming up are not stuff I'd watch. Gulf Coast, what's BlackRock? Is that like a PMC type thing or what? Or just some housing developer that's buying up the houses so regular people can't buy them? Oh, that's a good idea, Rich, yeah. I did look at curtain poles when I was getting mine, but there weren't any in stock at sort of the right sizes I wanted. I've done it with Nuke Map. Is it a thing like Nuke Map, or is it a bit different in Telebrite films? But Nuke Maps like that, where you select airburst or ground burst, fission or fusion, the atomic yield of it, and then, do you want to calculate downwind of fallout and all that? Yeah, perfectly fine, Comrade Justin, wasn't it? Only brave firemen and some plant people died. Nobody else was affected whatsoever, thanks to Soviet engineering. No, Oliver, I've got ones I can take out with me really easily if I want to, but I've not got any that are like rigged up to work outside. Oh, so yeah, Gulf Coast Prepper, that's not too dissimilar to what happens here, but here it's Oxford University in Oxfordshire. So Oxford University, what they do is they buy land or buy houses when they're being sold, knock them down, turn them into student accommodation. Like, wow, they're making the housing crisis worse. I haven't actually seen that, but I've seen the thumbnail for that, Wheels of Steel. I need to watch that, but yes, Darwin Awards. Yeah, if you're going somewhere with nuclear waste, you'd want to be suited up properly, wouldn't you? The amount of videos I've seen where people have radiation detectors on them, so they know that there's dangerous levels of radiation and like contamination or just poisons around or whatever, like heavy metals. And then they're like, oh, I'm just going to wear a really cheap dust suit and a little dust mask. That would be fine. It's like, no, you won't. Like, I would want top-end gear if I was doing something like that. If you were actually coming into contact with something that would endanger your life, you'd want top-tier equipment, not, oh, I found some old dodgy surplus stuff and I'm not even going to put a filter on it. Is there a PDF in the background? There is, but not where it's visible. But there is a PDF in this room hidden somewhere. Sorry, yeah, there's a PDF-D up there. Yes, there's a PBF, though. That was the one I was thinking of. Yeah, no, I agree with you there, Drunk Russian. I have nothing against, like, the people that were actual heroes that, like, sacrificed their lives or their health to contain it or minimize the damage. But that doesn't mean I think the Soviet system was good for creating the disaster in the first place. Yeah, I've played all the Fallout games, including Fallout 76, sort of sadly. But my favourite Fallout, and I'm even including Fallout Tactics in this, is probably New Vegas, in all honesty. Just because New Vegas is probably the easiest one to play and is still the most fun. I like Fallout 1 and 2, Stug. I just find that they're quite hard to run and get into on modern PCs. Is that the same ones, Wheel of Steel, that we were on about earlier in the chat, blasting themselves with X-rays? I think it's the same channel, isn't it? Is it Kerasan, or is it actually a different channel? But yes, so these are also the people that were making themselves vomit from radiation exposure in one video, wasn't it? Playing with X-ray tubes. Like, I like X-ray tubes, but again, I would not just... If I had an X-ray tube, and I was standing next to it, and the device you're holding is like, oh, 100 Rontgen, I wouldn't say, let's carry on blasting ourselves with X-rays. I've got a cloud chamber, but sadly I don't have all the stuff, because you have to get them super cold to work, don't you? I mean, I'd like to buy one of those cloud chambers where a lot of it's done through plugging it into a wall socket, as opposed to like buying like raw, dry ice plus like 100% alcohol, ethanol, whatever it is you need to do for them. But like I said, I have got a cloud chamber, but I've never done a video on it because I never got all the ingredients to put in it. But yeah, cloud chambers are fascinating, aren't they? But I'd rather just buy one that's, you know, plug it into the wall socket and it works through a heat exchanger. So yes, it's the same person who is now taking a dip in radioactive waste is the person who blasts themselves with X-rays. The thing is, as long as they don't endanger other people, TXC Gaming, I don't mind. It's just with some of this stuff, you kind of worry, are they endangering other people? I'm trying to think, Rory, because the problem is most good masks don't really fold up small. That's the problem. Does it need to be half face or full face? Because you can get a couple of half face masks that take ABEC P3 filters. I mean, people have seen it before, Top Hat Man, but if you want to see it, hang on. I've taken one of the GPUs out, but there you go. Oh, it's reflecting the light back, but there you go. I've done a video on it anyway, so you can just watch that video. Bit easier than me showing it like that. Bananas aren't that radioactive though, Oliver. There's actually videos where potassium is measured, and you generally need a scintillation counter and a shitload of potassium to actually start measuring it. I think the government's encouraging people to get assault respirators now, Xbox guy. But the coolest one in cloud chambers I've seen is radium, because you get the radon that splits off from it, and then the radon splits off from itself. Have you seen the videos like that where they have the massive cloud chambers and they drop a bit of radium in, and then you just see the radon like keep shooting out from it, like in almost like a chain reaction? That is really cool. Search the new PC or my new PC, something like that, Top Hat Man. Just search on my channel. There's not going to be very many videos on the channel called about, like, you know, PC or computer. I did get the reference, Xbox guy. Hence why I said assault respirators. I know what "don't be a hater, bin that respirator" is. No idea, Will. Somebody's probably got it in their house, not realizing how hot it is. Yeah, you can get banana mags, can't you, Flazzy? And they hold more rounds. Banana mags. Very, very scary banana-shaped magazines. The craziest one, though, is if you see the picture of a Terrapin next to one of the boots at Chernobyl, when the firefighters' boots, and it's like 900-something millisievert. Is that the thing where you look through them, Cheeky Antics, and you can see the flashing? I've got one, it doesn't work, so I have to buy another one, but I got a bit pissed off I spent a load of money on one that didn't work. Yeah, it'd be interesting, Mike. What happens if somebody subs to you, unsubs, and then resubs? Does it mean, like, they get their counter reset to 0? But in all honesty, to who was it saying about the potassium and like the radiation, stomach problems? Oliver, I'd assume that's more likely come from radon than anything else, because radon after smoking is the biggest cause of lung cancer, and I think then it's air pollution. So yeah, radon can really fuck people up if they're around it a lot and don't realise, because, you know, radon is essentially just radioactive gas. I'm not really a DayZ fan, in all honesty, and I'm going to say DayZ rather than DayZ because I'm not American. Daisy. 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 Yes. I never really got into DayZ. I like just Actual Armor 2. You know, the game it's a mod of. I like Actual Armor 2 a lot more than DayZ. You know, rolling around in your BMP or whatever you're doing. Yeah, the one I bought was nowhere near as expensive as that, Cheeky Antics, but it was like 50 quid and it didn't work. Yeah, in Bright Films, Brazil nuts are more radioactive than bananas. I've had once or twice, I've eaten Brazil nuts, like I bit one in half, put it next to a Geiger counter and got a slightly elevated reading to the point, you know, you could notice like the CPM or CPS was higher than background. But yeah, the fact that people eat bananas and Brazil nuts regularly and they don't die of like acute radiation syndrome, I think, is the reason they're not very dangerous. If right, are you joking at TXT Gaming? Because if you have potassium chloride, you have 5 kilos of it, and it reads 0.3 microsieverts. That's fucking nothing. Background is like 0.1 to 0.2 microsieverts. So what you're saying is it reads 0.1 to 0.2 basically above background for 5 kilos or something. That's nothing. Like, that is literally nothing. You can find walls in houses where there's a little bit of granite that has a tiny bit of uranium in that's more active than that. So if you mean millisieverts, that's completely different, because millisieverts, 0.3 millisieverts, that would be 300 microsieverts. Yeah, I'd agree, that would be quite a lot. But 5 kilos of that means it's less radioactive than any lump of pitch blende you could ever find, less radioactive than the thorium lamp mantle, less radioactive than Fiesta ware. Yeah, 0.3 microsieverts is nothing. I think, Oliver, a lot of this stuff depends on how it's grown. If you grow it in probably horribly contaminated soil, it will probably leach into the plant. Right, the best cheap night vision I know of, because there is no such thing as cheap night vision, but the best cheap one is the one that Hype sent me the other day. And I'm not going to get it out for this video, because it's in the other room, but I will be doing a review on it this week. But this thing, this is surprisingly good for what it is. It's like an okay digital night vision unit. So he sent it me for free, so I'm assuming it didn't cost too much. So yes, I would recommend one of these, because this is at least as good as a Gen 1, maybe a Gen 1 Plus for light amplification. And Gen 1 Pluses are going to cost you a lot more than what this costs. Let's look it up, Fluzzy, and see if we can find if they're for sale anywhere. So P40118. P40118 night vision. Let's see. They are £115. So yes, that's bloody good, actually. It's like the Night Foxes, but better. But yeah, I'll be doing actual stuff with it. But yes, for what they are very, very good. You might even find them cheaper than that from different sellers on AliExpress. So yeah, for something that's as good, I would say, as at least a Gen 1 unit that's digital, that's very, very good, actually. Because generally, a Gen 1 night vision thing in good condition is going to cost you £100, and they're going to weigh a lot more and be a lot more fragile because of the fact they're retro old technology. That does sound cool, Oliver, but I wonder if it will ever get to the point where that stuff's like actually quite creepy in terms of being spy tech. Both of them are all right, Avatar. What sort of filters do you want to run it on? Because I know the GVS Ellipse can actually have ABEC filters on, can't it? I don't know if the Trend can, because the Trend's filters are built into the case. Yeah, because bear in mind that most night vision that is less than $1,000 is generally quite old for the most part. It's generally like a Gen 2 at the most. It's one of the old Soviet ones, cheeky antics, so it looks a bit like a Soviet decimeter pen, but it's obviously built differently. But like I said, I could not get any reaction from it when I tried to use it. And again, I think it was just somebody who found an old Soviet warehouse full of them, so was selling them off without checking they worked. Well, that sounds cool, Alex Saint, but I don't know how practical that would be. I mean, you probably wouldn't want all that stuff built into one thing. I mean, saying that, a power armor helmet would actually be really cool, but how practical it is to actually build like a helmet with night vision and a gas mask kind of functionality all built into one. I don't know if they're worth selling a kidney for a PS14. But it's PS14 the US one, isn't it? Because if that's the one that can burn out if you accidentally look at a bright light quite easily. They're very good at amplifying light, but they're very fragile in terms of bright source protection. The Wheel of Steel says, I live where there used to be a tin smelter and disposable suits used to get sent to Sellafield for disposal. Alpha radiation was found to be emitted by byproduct of the smelting. That's quite interesting, though, isn't it? But yeah, I do know that there's weird shit like that where you can have stuff that's not in theory something that's radioactive, but yes, the process of it being broken down or whatever leads to contamination. Yeah, the only thing in Telebrite that you might want to consider before spending a load of money on those is that while they are very, very good at light amplification, there's lots of people who blemish the tubes very easily, like, you know, with stuff that wouldn't blemish other night vision tubes. I think that might be on the thin film versions, because bear in mind there's thick film versions that are actually sturdier. Oh, bear in mind, Cheeky Antics, I bought it months ago, so I couldn't tell you. It came in a little plastic packet, basically. There was a Soviet manual with it, and the Scintaroscope in a plastic bag. But like I said, it didn't work. And it looked like it was missing parts anyway. Like, you know, they had to be assembled and they weren't assembled. But yeah, just like I said in Telebrite films, I wouldn't discourage you from getting one, because a Gen 3 night vision is fucking excellent. I've only got a Gen 2 Plus, but I've had a chance to play with Gen 3s thanks to Hype. But I would say the difference between a Gen 2 Plus and a Gen 3 isn't that big. Like, Gen 1 Plus to Gen 2 is a huge difference. Gen 2 to Gen 2 Plus is a pretty damn big difference. Gen 2 Plus to Gen 3, it's like it's a bit better, but is it worth a huge price increase? But but like I said, it's very good for light amplification. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say like, oh, it's a bad night vision scope. It's really not. It's just like, you know, it is kind of the price of what they cost compared to the use you'd get out of it compared to other night vision units. That's what I'm thinking. Can hogs see infrared? Because if hogs can't see infrared, you can literally get any like Gen 1 night vision scope or whatever and have an infrared light illuminator. And if they can't see it, you'll actually see just as well with Gen 1 with an IR flashlight. What country are you in, Alexei? If you're in the UK, you can buy them from Havana House. Now, I don't know if they'll let me link this, so if you go to Havana House, like literally Google it, Havana House, they used to have a shop in Oxford, but I don't know if they've still got it there. And I used to buy pipe tobacco from there. But yeah, that they sell Scotch and gins, you know, Cuban cigars, tobacco mixes, and all the other things. I don't want to look at these for too long because otherwise I want to start smoking again. But let's have a look. Yeah, this is the place, because yeah, they have so much choice of tobacco here. Well, they are a tobacconist, aren't they? That's why. But like I've quit smoking, so I won't start again. Thank you very much. But yes. Well, you're saying you wonder why it closed, Wheeler Steel, because of the Can you post it in the Twitter for me so I can click it later, Pete? Thank you. But yeah, so look up Havana House on Google, Alexei, and They at least did have one in Oxford. I don't know if it's still there. They have one somewhere else, but they do mail order. And they do Cuban cigars, cheaper cigars, pipe tobacco. They're just a tobacconist, basically. If you want to buy something to smoke, they'll sell it. Although I don't think they sell the green. Well, yeah, the only thing is, Alex Saint, some of those cigarillos I actually bought from Poland in the airport because they had cigarillos in the airport. But yeah, they used to do like selection packs of Cuban cigars and Cuban cigarillos and all that. Well, you can ask Top Hat Man, but I don't know if I can answer it for you. You have to ask and see. So, yeah, they were duty free, exactly. Yes, duty free, so you're not even paying like the stupid outlandish tax. But that's when I used to smoke, and I don't smoke anymore. I don't even vape, so there you go. And I don't want to get back into it. Did you like them, Oliver? Because the thing is, if you actually like them, I don't see the harm in that. But again, some people just don't like them, do they? I actually must admit, out of all the stuff I smoked, even including Cuban cigars, when I had a Cuban now and again, I think I actually just preferred good pipe tobacco to it. But I think that's because pipe tobacco is cooler at the point it enters your mouth due to the stem on the pipe. But yeah, I don't want to start getting nostalgic for pipe tobacco because, you know, I don't want to restart smoking again. YouTube won't let you send images through the chat, Top Hat Man. Tell me what to Google. If you can tell me what to Google, I can Google it. But YouTube won't let you post a URL. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, Peach. I've got a pipe that, because I used to smoke it, it still has the kind of pipe tobacco aroma from it. So you can actually put it in your mouth and do that, and you get the flavour, but then it makes you want to smoke it. Well, that's the thing, Oliver. Like I said, I actually like cigars, but I just prefer certain brands of pipe tobacco. So, Scotland's secret bunker list. Right, let me Google that. So, right, Scotland's secret bunker link. So, is it secretbunker.co.uk, that one? And then where do I click on there? Because obviously the one they're showing there is obviously like the equivalent of Calvert and Hatch, but it's the one that's in Scotland. It's what's called a rotor bunker. I'm just watching the video on their site at the moment, but that's like the equivalent of Calvert and Hatch, but the one in Scotland. But bear in mind that there is also Calvert and Hatch. That's the same attitude, Alex Saint, I have with making my own alcohol. Like, yeah, I can see the appeal in it, but I don't want to wait. I'll just buy it, buy a bottle. I think, though, Top Hat Man, you're just on about Scotland secretbunker.co.uk, aren't you? Which is literally, it's called a rotor bunker, if that's what you're on about, and they give you the directions to get there if you want to get there. But yeah, search rotor bunkers. Like, I'll search it for you. What you want to search is rotor bunker. So ROTOR and then bunker. Search that into Google Images. That is the style of bunker you're on about. They were the big regional government headquarters bunkers is what they're technically called. But yes, that's what Calvert and Hatch is. That's what a load of the other ones are. But they generally have a blast tunnel to go in, and then you've got like sleeping rooms, like kind of like a war room kind of thing in there. And they're all built under fake houses as well. Anyway, there you go. Anyway, I'll be off. Thanks for coming on, the people who came on tonight. I might not get a chance to do a member stream tomorrow because I'm going to shave my hair off tomorrow, actually. Yeah, well, but the thing was, Oliver, they weren't built for regular people, were they? That's the funny thing. Build them for politicians to survive, not for regular people. Sadly. Anyway, classist bunkers. But anyway, yeah, I'll be off. So tomorrow night I might not be on because if I shave all my hair off tomorrow night, then obviously I'll be doing that in the evening. But if I'm not on tomorrow, then I'll be on Thursday. And if I'm on tomorrow, that means I won't be on Thursday, if that makes sense. Right, see you everybody. Have a good evening. And Mike isn't on Twitch tonight, so I won't be watching Mike on Twitch with you later.